Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hans's Man Cave podcast. This is your host, Hans, episode 7. I'm sorry. I know I've been slacking on my podcast. I'm sorry to anyone that's been interested. I've just been a lot busy. Life has caught up to me. But, it's 2019. I'm refocused. I'm spreading out my time a lot effectively. I want to actually make this podcast work. I enjoy talking. I enjoy speaking. I want to make this podcast about life, life struggles, sports, news, local news, crazy, world news. Because, the world is pretty crazy out there. But, I'm here. I still want to make it a business podcast as well. I want to do interviews. So if you have a local business, let me interview you. Let me get you some exposure. I pay to get some exposure out there for on Facebook as well. So not only am I trying to help my podcast out, I'm gonna try to help your business out. We can have an interview. Let me know what kind of business you run. My videos, get hundreds of views, and I think I can help you out, help myself out. This weekend, I wanted to start this weekend because it was the first weekend of 2019, and I wanted to start off fresh, brand new, and what a way to do it on the NFL's first playoff weekend. It's a very exciting time, especially for NFL fans, sports fans. There's a lot going on, especially since the Dallas Cowboys actually made it to the playoffs, and that is awesome. For El Paso, I feel happy for a lot of the fans out here. I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm a Niner fan. San Francisco 49ers. We've obviously been out, but the Cowboys clawed their way from the basement, and out of nowhere they've made the playoffs, which is good. It's an exciting time for El Paso. A lot of fans are definitely happy. We got four games this wild card slate, and they're really interesting. I think anyone can take any game this weekend, but it depends who makes the less mistakes. Who plays better, what quarterback plays better, and so I'm here. This podcast is first podcast of 2019. I'm here to make predictions. I want to make predictions on the 4 games. I'm also going to lay out the spread points. If you're a gambler, you can hear what I got to say. For those of you that don't gamble, you really don't know what the spread is. It's basically the point spread is basically the amount Vegas is favoring a certain team. Whether it's 3 points, 6 points, it could be different. It varies depending what Vegas thinks will happen in the game, or who they feel is favored. They're Vegas, they put these points out for the gamblers. It's not really an indication of who actually is going to win, but it's just something that you can bet on. So the 4 games we got the Indianapolis Colts versus the Texans. That's going to be the first game of the playoffs. That's today, Saturday. Tonight is going to be Seattle and Dallas. You know what happened last time they played each other in the playoffs. Then we got tomorrow on the Sunday slate, we got the Los Angeles Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a good game. They played each other about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. And so that should be interesting. And Philly and Chicago. Philadelphia barely making it into the playoffs, barely coming through. They had to get some help by the Vikings losing to the Bears. And we'll talk more about that. That's the weekend games. After Saturday and Sunday, these playoff games are crucial. But then we got a national championship game on Monday. I'm going to give you a prediction on that game as well. I'm a big college fan. It's going to be Alabama and Clemson. That's a really good game. I'm excited. I've honestly thought that it was going to be Alabama and Clemson since like week 2 or 3 of the college football season. Who else? Well, I got a couple, things, my podcast is unscripted. I don't write anything down. I don't, go word by word. I just have little notes to keep me reminded on what I want to talk about and what I want to say. So we'll start off with the first game. The first game is the Colts and the Texans. All right, these two teams are really good. They both got really good quarterbacks. Watson, he's in his second year. Last year he had a season-ending injury, but he came back and he's bounced back really well. He's mobile. He's a mobile quarterback. He could throw. I see him stay in the pocket, throw all the time. And he's a scrambler. He's dangerous with his feet. Colts have Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck has dealt with numerous amount of injuries throughout his seasons in the NFL. And I actually feel really happy that he's in the playoffs. He's considered one of the best quarterbacks, but he's just never on the field. So, it's kind of tough to argue that kind of argument when you're not on the field. He's very accurate. He will run on you. He's not afraid to run, but that's also why he gets injured. He's not afraid to run. He'll put his head down. He's a big dude. He runs like a running back. Let's see. Look at this point spread. According to the point spread, Texans are -1, which basically means that Vegas is giving the Texans a 1-point favorite, which in my eyes doesn't really mean much. It means a lot to the gamblers, but it's basically a pick'em game, because for you to bet on Texans, you just need to. If you bet on Texans, you just need Texans to win by 1 point, and you won't lose your bet. If they win by 2 or more, then you win your bet. So basically, it's an even game. Vegas can't really decide, who they want to pick, so they favor Texans, and they're favoring Texans because they're at home. You always get 3 points when you're at home. So on the neutral field, actually the Colts are favored by 2. My prediction, though, this is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and it may come down to who has the ball last. Maybe with a last-second field goal, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. I could see it being, let's say, 28-31, Texans. I say Texans take it. They got the young quarterback. They're at home. They got a defensive line that has to play good. And J.J. Watt, Clowney, they really need to step up. One way to get Andrew Luck discomforted is the fact you got to put the defensive line on him. His offensive line has actually played really good. Andrew Luck's offensive line has played really good. But that defensive line, in order for the Texans to win this game, they got to protect Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, I've seen him make a lot of mistakes, and he does a lot of those mistakes under pressure. So that's my prediction. I think Texans come out with a win. Last-second field goal, let's just say that. 28-31. Write it down. If you're going to bet, go to Vegas or Bovada or whatever gambling resource you use and bet Texans. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm a gambler. I like to gamble. So tonight's game, we got Seattle and Dallas. Now, this one's an interesting one. This is the one that I'm having trouble with. I find reasons to pick Seattle, but then I find reasons to pick Dallas. And according to my notes, Dallas is a 2-point favorite. That's mostly because they're at home. Since the fact that they're at home, Vegas is giving them a favorite of 2 points. Remember, home field advantage is 3 points. So on the neutral field, Seattle is favored by 1. And I think it's correct. Seattle is really good. Russell Wilson's always dangerous. And, I may need to remind every Dallas fan the last time they played Seattle and they had Tony Romo as a quarterback, he literally dropped the ball. Dropped the ball in the game, and everyone knows how that ended. Him getting tackled 1 yard before reaching the 2-point conversion to actually win the game. But I know Dallas fans want to forget all about that. You know, they do. And they don't want me to bring it up. They never want to bring it up. But I do think that Dallas comes out with this win just because they're at home. And it's a -2. If it's -2, Dallas, and you're a gambler, my prediction is bet Dallas. Because I think they cover in the end. You know, they're at home. Elliott didn't play the last week of the NFL season, so he should have some fresh legs, be ready to go, be ready to run over some tacklers. Seattle's not a really good road team. So I think that Dallas is going to come out with the win. And I hope they kick a field goal and win by 3. This game, I think it's going to be a little low scoring. I can see it being 20-23. That's my prediction. I think Dallas comes out with the win. They live to fight another day. So we'll see. I mean, if you look at the trends, it's not looking good towards Dallas. You know, Seattle is actually 4-1 against the spread the last 5 playoff games, and Dallas is actually 1-5 against the spread. And of course, that is horrible. But you know, with the fact that it's a 2-point spread, means that Vegas really also can't decide who to pick, or it's just gonna be a close game. Let's just say that. So that's my prediction. That's Saturday's prediction for this playoff weekend. So you know, we'll see what happens. So Texans, Dallas, I think they're safe bets. I think they both come out with the win. They're both at home, and I think it's good to go. I'd say you lock those picks in. If you're in Bovada, you go bet those. I'm really comfortable about that. You know, Dallas, Dak, if he has a decent game, they win. If he has a horrible game, they lose. And Russell Wilson's going to be Russell Wilson. So we'll see what goes on from there. So now, Sunday slate of games. We're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see. I have on my notes, as of earlier, Baltimore Ravens were a 2.5-point favorite. And one, I think they're a 2.5-point favorite because they're at home, you know. But they also just beat the Chargers. And it was 22-10, low-scoring game. Phillip Rivers was under pressure. And they just couldn't get no run game going. And mostly, I think the lack of the run game was the fact that they didn't have Melvin Gordon. He was injured. So that's just what I think happened. They couldn't get the running game going. Baltimore has, I think, the best defense in the NFL. I actually had Baltimore Ravens defense as my fantasy football defense, and they did very well for me this year. At least 3 or 4 occasions they hit 30 or 40 points, and that's pretty tough to do, you know, as a defense in fantasy football. It's pretty tough. It's rare, but they did it numerous times. So prediction in this game: Los Angeles Chargers and Baltimore. So I personally think this is going to be one of the upsets of the weekend, and I think the San Diego Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers, I'm still trying to get used to that. You know, sometimes, it gets stuck in my brain. But the Los Angeles Chargers come out and they upset the Baltimore Ravens at home. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Rivers is going to bounce back. Melvin Gordon is expected to play, and he's huge. He is a huge player. They need him in the lineup, and they didn't have him in the lineup a couple weeks ago, and it showed. But I think this time the Chargers are going to come out, and honestly, I'm rooting for the Chargers to make it to the Super Bowl. Like, that's my Super Bowl team. I'm predicting. I think they'll make it, and it starts tomorrow against the Baltimore Ravens. The thing is, you know, on the other side, Baltimore Ravens have a good defense, and they got Lamar Jackson. And you know what happens when brand new quarterbacks step into the starting lineup and they start excelling? Mostly because teams don't have enough tape. You know, teams take usually about a year to get used to a certain player. Just like Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick came out. He came out fired because no one knew how to handle him. No one knew what to do to stop him. You know, once you get some tape on them, teams usually can adapt and go against your weaknesses. And I'm assuming the Chargers did just that, because Lamar Jackson, I've watched him since college. I watched him 2 years in college. Louisville, he lit it up. He's super fast. So what they like to do in the Baltimore Ravens offense, they run kind of like a spread, you know, fake handoff, got a running back running next, kind of like a spread option. They use this type of offense just so they can keep you off guard. You never know if he's going to run it, hand it off, or come up and pass. So that's why he's a really tricky quarterback to handle. There's not enough tape on him, but he's still a rookie. And I think the Chargers defense will actually step up. They stopped them. I mean, they only allowed 22 points last time. And I don't see the Chargers only scoring 10 points again. So, Chargers come out with the win. So, I think if you're betting online or whatever, you want the 2.5, I would say plus 2.5, which is, I would pick the underdog in the Chargers. I actually would think they win straight up. So if you want to put money on the money line, you could put some money on the money line. I didn't actually see the money line, but it's going to be some money. Again, it's a 2.5 point spread. Vegas is expecting it to be pretty close game. So yeah, I say you bet the Chargers if you're a gambling man. Me, if you get it at a +3, which means if you get the Ravens favored by 3 and you do the Chargers, that's even a better point spread, man. I really do think they win it out, right? I just do. That's my prediction. So far I got the Texans, I got the Cowboys, and I got the Chargers winning those 3 games. So now we're heading to our last game, which is going to be Philadelphia and Chicago. Let me look at the point spread. Okay, so Chicago's favored 6.5 points. That's actually the largest point spread this weekend out of the 4 spreads, which is telling you something. It's telling you Vegas has no respect for the Eagles. They had to really make a run the past couple of weeks just to get into this position. They had to have the stars align completely perfectly for them to sneak into the playoffs. You know, I personally think the Vikings are a better team than Philly, but Philly has that magic. They got that Nick Foles magic. You know, basically every Eagles fan that I know just talks about Nick Foles. Like, that's all they talk about. You know, all of a sudden they forgot about Carson Wentz, you know, and all they talk about is Nick Foles is going to do it again. Nick Foles is going to do it again. And it kind of gets tiring. So I honestly hope they lose. But, you know, I'm not an Eagles fan, so I really don't care what they think. But if you like the Eagles, Nick Foles is going to have to play amazing. I don't see it happening. That Bears defense is really tricky, and Khalil Mack is just a beast. He's just a beast. I can't even stress that enough. So 6.5 points favorite. If you are a Chicago fan, you are at home, you're at Soldier Field, 6.5 points is a lot. If you're a gambling person, I'd take the 6.5. I think they beat them by more than a touchdown. If you could get at 6.5, I would bet it easily. If you get at 7, I would bet it easily. If it goes a little bit over 7.5, that's a little bit too much for me. I don't know if I would touch that, but I do think at 6.5, Bears are worth it. They're worth the 6.5 points. I think they cover. I think they win by a touchdown more. That's just my opinion. I think the Eagles got a little hot, but their fire is going to get watered down. So, I actually questioned Chicago's decision to actually, go hard and beat the Vikings, because this is how I see it. You know what? I think division-wise and team-wise, the Bears are a way better matchup to beat the Vikings than they are Philly. So I kind of question it. I think the Bears should have taken it easy. Maybe let the Vikings win so that they could just replay what happened last week and play the Vikings this wild card weekend and still beat them. I think it would have been an easier road, but they decided to beat the Vikings, so now they got the Eagles. But it doesn't matter. Bears win this game easy. I don't think there's ever a question during the game, and that's what I'm going to go with. So, my betting recap, I think 3 of the 4 favorites win, and that's kind of rare. But it's also the fact that each spread is really low. So, it's not like the Bears spread is high, so you really need the Bears to play their A game to cover the spread. I think they do. They're going to be at home. They're going to be pumped. Trubisky's, he's really good. I saw him play at the Sun Bowl. From North Carolina, he's a really good quarterback. And I like them, coming out of college. Kind of wanted the Niners to take a look at them. But when you got Jimmy G, you gotta just let it go. Let me see, time. Okay. So those are my 4 predictions for the NFL. I hope, you get some insight, you get some betting insight, and makes you think on what you want to bet today if you're a bettor. If not, take the information as it is. If you're in a survivor pool, take the information I give. I watch football, and I think I know what I'm talking about. So I watch it religiously. But, I actually spend a lot of time. I didn't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to make it like a coming out 2019 party. What a way to do it, wild card weekend. I do want to talk about the national championship before I end my video. Alabama, Clemson. I've watched these two. I've gambled on them a couple times as well. I've won money with them. So Clemson. Looking by my notes, Clemson is, Alabama is a 5.5 point favorite. I think that's a lot. I think the game will be closer than that. I think it's going to be a really good national championship game. These two teams have both good defenses and both got good offenses. That freshman quarterback, that guy looks like a man. Have you seen him? Like his facial structure, he just looks like a grown man. And I think he's going to play grown football. And on the other side, Alabama has Tua. And I'm not going to say his name because I can't pronounce it right, and I don't want to go through the trouble right now. But he's a really good quarterback. Only thing with him is he's always injured, so it's kind of like, I really hope that he doesn't get injured because I want Clemson to keep it close against all the players, all the starters. I don't want excuses. If Tua gets hurt and Alabama loses, I don't want to hear excuses. I want the top players to be playing the whole game. It's going to be a really good, exciting national championship. 5.5 point spread, though, is a little bit too much. I think Clemson keeps it within a 3 point, So if you're going to bet, I say bet Clemson plus 5.5. I don't think they lose by 6 or more. I think they could win the game. They could win outright, but I think they keep it a 3 point difference. I actually like the game 35-38 in a high-scoring shootout, national championship, national TV. Everyone's going to be excited. I'm asking for the day off. I want to watch the game. It's going to be great. Let's see. My notes. I don't want to keep this video too long. But I do see that my notes, Texas is back. And I hope y'all saw that bowl game against Georgia. So Sorry, I went blank. Against Georgia. And Georgia was a powerhouse, or is a powerhouse. And they were arguing all week how they should be playing for the college football playoffs. But they didn't, and it showed because they lost to Texas. Texas is back, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand up. Next year, I'm pumped for Texas. I can't wait. I want them to make it to a game. Earlier this year, I went to a Texas versus Texas Tech game, and that was awesome. The energy. And they whooped on them. Sorry, Red Raider fans. Sorry. But Texas is back, baby. And we here to take it. We're going to be a national championship contender. You know, Sam Ehlinger is a beast. I'm ready. I want to see him play. I saw him play this year, and it was awesome. So, Texas, let's keep this momentum going, man. Texas football is back. Let's go. Let's go. And you know what? I think I'm done. I have a couple other things to do or that I wanted to say, but I could just, I want to make this a weekly podcast now. I want to always talk about brand new stuff. If you think you got a certain topic that you want to talk about, let me know. I'll talk about it. I'll bring you in it. We can have a conversation here right next to me. I'm pumped. I'm glad I did this video. I'm happy that, I feel like a fresh, how do you say it? Like a fresh breath air. No, like a breath of fresh air. Yeah. That's how I want to bring in 2019. So I hope you enjoy the video. Hope you read the insides. Hope each pick I did was, I've taken time and research, and they're not stupid picks. So if you want to take them, go on Bovada. If not, watch the game, enjoy the games. I'm rooting for you Cowboys just because I know a lot of people that like Cowboys, and I don't want to see them in pain. I hate seeing my friends in pain. But if they lose, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because I kind of like seeing my friends in pain, especially since my 49ers are out. So, please, share, let me know. I'm going to do interviews with businesses still. I want guests on my podcast, so please let me know. All right, thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everyone. Love you guys. Peace.